This is Nana Donko Jefferson here at NaRose Designs Studio. So we're doing something a little different today. As you can see, we're not on the couch, but we are where we need to be. And I'm so excited to be here with Jen. She leads our meditation and mandalas class at the studio. I always say mandalas. I hear mandalas. I'm going to let you explain as well. But thank you all for joining us today. I want to let Jen introduce herself. I'll just say a little bit. She's an amazing lady. I'm so glad we've had the opportunity to meet. A mom, a hard worker, as you said, a true lover of, and truly understands the importance of meditation and just that time with yourself. So I'm really excited to hear from her, and I know you will be too. So Jen, just want to give you a chance to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. Well, yeah, Jen, and like you said, I'm a mom, professional in human resources, and my love for meditation is really a part of my healing journey. And it started, I would say, around 2020, when many of us in the world, were in that mindset of so many different, an array of feelings. But for me personally, what it started for me was a deep self-exploration. I was, prior to 2020, sort of noticing and picking up on feelings of anxiety. And when I noticed that, I kind of noted it. And then when it got to the point of like becoming uncomfortable for me, the first thing I did is I went and saw my primary care doctor at the time. And I'm like, I'm having these, I don't know if it's panic attacks or whatever it is, but it feels uncomfortable. And that primary care doctor, I didn't feel like I was very heard. The first thing she said was pointing me into the direction of, oh, well, maybe we can take some antidepressants or, prescriptions. And I immediately was like, no,
Yeah.
I don't think we're there. But so it sort of put me on my own path of trying to figure out what can I do that can calm myself down. And so meditation just sort of silently showed up.
Okay.
I had heard about it. I had tried it before in the past. And like for many other people, I became frustrated by it like almost immediately.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting, the frustration with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I say that because, the expectation to sit there, in stillness, not doing anything at all, feeling like I needed to turn off all of my thoughts. I could not do that successfully. So I felt like I was failing at it,
Yes.
So I would sit there for not even a full 3 minutes and I'm already thinking about the HEB list, all the things.
Everything, yes.
And I'm like, okay, this is not working for me. So I abandoned that quickly. Wow. But it would still play in the background. I was still curious about it because I could see how it was showing up and helping other people. But sort of fast forwarding back to 2020, when I got on this path of healing and self-discovery, I read a book by Layla Delia. It's called Vibrate Higher Daily.
Okay.
And it really changed the game for me. For one, she's from LA, which is, my hometown. So she spoke my language.
Okay.
Her life story just really resonated a lot with me. And again, she referenced meditation. It just kept, showing up in different ways. And so from there, that book led me to other books. The Power of Now by Joseph. Oh my God, the last name left me.
I know. I think I've seen that one. I feel like I can see the cover.
Yeah.
I'll put it in the comments for sure in the description. But yes, okay.
Yeah, that was another book that, just sort of became full circle for me. Like it was almost like a quiet whisper, like, this is your path. You need to give yourself grace, give yourself patience.
That grace, yes.
The grace, right? Like keep showing up. So I really geeked out on like wanting to learn more and more about mindfulness,
Mm.
the science behind it. What exactly it does it do to our brain, to our body, to our mind. So
Mm-hmm.
I started to geek out over that, documentaries, books, everything that's all I really wanted to talk about. It got to
Okay.
that point for me. Um, but then the practice was still the part that I struggle with,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
So um, I just tried to become a little more disciplined with myself by telling myself, you don't have to sit here for the full hour. How about we attempt to do 5 minutes
Mm-hmm.
and then build upon that? 5 minutes eventually became 10, you know,
Yes.
and then from there. And I think the first experience where I was able to sit through my timer
Mm-hmm.
for 10 minutes without getting up is when I realized and I noticed how I felt afterwards as compared to how I felt before I arrived.
Right. Right.
And I said, this is it. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just sort of how it
How it all began.
began.
There
Yeah.
was a lot packed in there, though, that I
Mhm.
think I know I could resonate with, and I would think others could too. And so I kind of want to unpack a few things you said.
Yeah.
One, you mentioned the frustration you had when you
Mhm.
first started, and kind of just telling yourself that, no, I don't have to sit here for a full hour. Like when we have our sessions or our time together, it's blocked for about an hour,
Mhm.
but there's other things that can also kind of lead to that meditative time as well. So how
Yeah.
were you able to, it sounds like just breaking it down, kind of move past the frustration,
Mhm.
and you also said the thoughts came. So how
Mhm.
did you deal with the thoughts coming and pushing past that part?
Yeah. So I started out with guided
Okay.
meditations, right? So when I realized I was having difficulty doing it on my own, I said, well, let me try a guided one where they're leading me through the experience. So my focus won't necessarily be on my thoughts, it'll be on what the instructor is guiding me
Ah, okay.
to do, right? So when I went through the sequence of starting off with breath work, like what we do in the class,
Mhm.
I noticed how that showed up in my body. I was able
Okay.
to, my shoulders would drop. Um, I would unclench all of the small muscles in my face,
Mhm.
and like it just, I'm like, it felt like like an exhale.
Yes.
So once I got my body still during this particular sequence, we then moved on to a body scan, which is what we also do in
Mm,
our classes. And, refocusing that attention on the body, like literally moving from crown to feet,
okay.
again, is where, during the reflection piece, I started to notice, you know what, instead of me thinking about XYZ, I was being intentional with thinking about how I felt in my body
Mm,
from crown to toe. So in essence, that's meditating.
yeah.
You're being intentional about how you feel in the present moment versus everything else that's going on outside of the walls. So from there, the visualization, which is how I
Mm,
typically close our meditation sessions, allowed me to have an open heart and an open mind by just picturing myself wherever felt good. And sometimes it's an imaginary place. Sometimes it's somewhere I've been before.
mm,
Um, and it became it was like a mystical feeling,
yeah.
and I just feel like that, knowing that I didn't have to show up perfectly or
Mm.
perform,
Yes.
and just
That
sort of,
means a lot.
yeah, work my way through it, I think is what helped push me past some of those frustrations I was feeling.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not about the performance, it's not about the perfection, it's about being present. And that's what I'm so glad that we're able to take time this morning,
Yeah.
to be present. So I really like that you mentioned the guided, and I think it's very helpful because my thoughts do wander a lot, whether it's
Mhm.
prayer, meditation.
Mhm.
Then I do feel bad because like I'm not able to get my thoughts controlled, and
Mhm.
I have to extend the grace to myself, like you said. But
Mhm.
having that guided session really just kind of helps keep that focus. So
Right.
I really do appreciate and can relate to that when you made that comment.
Right. Yeah.
Um, Hopefully, towards the end, maybe we'll get a minute or two to do a little bit of breath work. We could close
Mhm.
out with that.
Mhm.
And you're right, breathing just really centers you so much. Like just taking a moment to take a really deep inhale and exhale.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's underrated.
It let me tell you. I mean, it rescues me in so
Mm,
many situations,
yeah.
at work, at home, anytime I'm feeling myself becoming dysregulated, I now know that I have the power to just take a breath.
Hmm.
And you almost immediately feel, a sense of feeling grounded or, recentered or so. But again, it's, you know, giving yourself permission to do so and knowing that you have the power to do it anywhere,
Yeah. Yes.
anytime,
Yes.
any place. So the breath work is definitely important. It's again, it rescues me in so many
Hmm.
situations.
Hmm. So for that person that thinks that, I don't have the time or I can't do it, I mean, what would you tell that person, or to encourage them, or any tip for
Yeah.
that person?
Well, number one, I would say that's a very common feeling, because like myself, most of us, our days are full, our lives are full. Um, but just realizing, pouring into yourself for even 5 minutes
Hmm.
is powerful, you know, and in terms of, it's just really about, I feel, and what has worked for me, reminding myself that it doesn't have to, I don't have to, show up to a certain special place or it doesn't have to be a special setting when I
Right.
need it.
Right. Okay.
You can return to it anytime, any place. Sometimes when I get home from work, I'll park in my driveway and carve out about whatever I need before I enter the space.
Okay.
You know, not only for myself, but for my loved ones, because I don't want to carry and transfer whatever energy I'm carrying from work or
Yeah.
from the commute home into home, right?
Yes.
So you have to find the time. It's just the bottom line. And the
Hmm.
thing is, we can find it
Yeah.
if we really
Yeah.
want to. You have 5 minutes in the shower.
Yes. Yes.
You know, so it's just really about being intentional, having a little bit of discipline, and knowing that on the other side of that, there's a high chance that you're going to feel better.
Mm. I like that a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the fact that you can do it anywhere, anytime is really important, in that it doesn't have to be like you're sitting there for 30, 45 minutes. It's just
Right.
carving out a little bit of space. And I do, going back to the challenges, the inner challenges with it, I think that is when, going to a guided session
Mhm.
is very helpful. One, you're there with like-minded people where everyone's there trying to have this moment for themselves, but then you
Yeah.
also have a way of, if you have trouble focusing, which sometimes I do,
Mhm.
or you just have so many thoughts.
Yeah.
Even when we have some of our other classes, I'm laying there relaxing, and I realize that I'm not really relaxing.
Mhm.
The to-do list is running through my head, and I'm trying to like banish this to-do
Yeah.
list out of my head.
Yeah.
So I think that's really so powerful to know that, um, we're capable.
Mhm.
We're very capable,
Mhm.
and not to be so hard on ourselves if it
Mhm.
doesn't quite look the way we would have thought the first time.
Yeah.
If we gave up on everything the first time, we wouldn't do anything.
Exactly.
So I really like
Exactly.
that.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, Nana, in terms of, that pressure of feeling like you have to turn off your thoughts. Because in fact, meditation teaches us that, well, the mind is going to do what it's designed to do, right?
Mm,
It's going to think. So
yeah.
instead of putting the pressure on yourself to turn off the thoughts, just notice them. Notice what's coming up for you
Mm,
in that moment and observing it without judgment, and then just allowing it to pass. And then that gap between the thoughts is what is actually the meditation. That's the practice, that
mm,
stillness in between those thoughts. So when we enter a practice feeling like, okay, I have to not think about anything, sit here still, that's actually not what we're hoping to achieve. We're hoping to, notice our thoughts, almost like a cloud passing through the sky,
And
right?
we're looking up because we have these
Yeah,
clouds
right.
on the
That's the first
ceiling.
my eye went straight to that.
I'll have to like drop a shot in there.
Uh-huh. Yeah. But it's the perfect analogy, looking at a cloud passing through the sky. When we're doing that, we're not really thinking much about that cloud. We're just observing it. We're just watching it. And once it leaves, it's gone. And that's just how we should treat our thoughts during meditation. And then over time, what ends up happening is in life, when complex situations come up, what we hope to do is observe it without judgment and then let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Now we, can't always,
I was gonna, I was gonna say
that doesn't
that's the
always
hard part.
work.
That let it go would be
Yeah.
lovely. Sometimes though we tend to hold on, and I was talking with someone else. Oh, we were talking about overthinking,
Yeah.
and I was saying about the ruminating, because then you keep holding on to that
Mm-hmm.
thought, and it's like, no, you need to release it and let it float on. Yeah.
And here's the thing, what works for me is if I notice that there's a thing that I can't let go of, then that's signaling me that, okay, you need to investigate this a little further. Why does this keep showing up? And that's why, too, what I think and I encourage after a meditation is to have a time for reflection, to think about how did I feel in my body? What came up? What was challenging? So that not during your meditation practice, but afterwards, spend some time with that and think about, do I need what is this asking of me? What is this asking of me right now?
I like that.
Yeah.
And that's not always the easiest thing to do.
No.
To really sit with yourself and your thoughts is not always easy, because sometimes we don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes we're hiding from ourselves or running from ourselves and that's the beauty in meditation, is that giving ourselves permission to, even if for 30 to 60 minutes, to sit there in stillness. Because the thing is, and what I remind myself and our students or our guests is that all of those things that are begging for your attention will still be there when you leave this space.
Right.
Yeah. And so it's okay. And that's hard, right? Because I dealt with a lot of guilt too, and still to this day feeling like I don't have time to sit here for an hour and do nothing. The guilt comes up and it creeps up, and it does. But giving yourself permission is actually say, yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have to care for myself first before I can show up, right?
Yes.
And we hear that all the time, but we have to actually practice that.
And a bit of reframing, because like when you said, I don't have time to sit and do nothing, but it's not nothing.
Yes.
So it's kind of the reframing. Do I have time to sit down for myself? Do I have time to give to myself?
Right.
And so I think if we're able to reframe that as well, stillness does not mean nothing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Maybe that's what it is.
I think that's how it feels for many, especially when you're beginning your practice. It's you don't really see the benefits of it, in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so you do feel like you're just sitting there or doing nothing or, so I think that is a beautiful, and it's an important reminder to tell yourself that, actually no, what I'm doing is pouring into myself. I'm quieting the noise. I am giving myself space to regulate my nervous system. And we need that.
Yes.
We really need that.
There's so much fighting for our attention.
Yeah.
And then these quick, and I think, with everything being so quick, we expect that time to be quick as well, where not necessarily, right? But yes, it's a lot that you're battling with externally. That's wants your attention also.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, like the expectation of, oh, I don't feel calm within the first
right
5 minutes. So yeah,
it's not working.
It's not working. Yeah. So that too is that, releasing that expectation that every time you show up to your practice, you may not necessarily feel calm or peaceful. And that's why we call it a practice. It's going to
Yes.
show up differently every single time. It's like, let's name one thing that you do that you feel the same way every single time
That's
you do
true.
it. So it's just those little subtle reminders. And I
Yeah.
think, over time, this is definitely one of those things that over time, you'll see the, what the emphasis
A little.
over time, you will see the benefits of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know there's like at least two more things. One in particular was we talked a bit, and I have mine here because before you came, I was starting to. I got this another book, and it is relaxing mandalas or mandalas. I don't
Mandala.
mandala.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so before you came, I found this one that I thought was fitting because it had hearts,
That's
and we're
pretty.
in the whole love month
Yes.
of February. And so we tried to incorporate that as well as part
Hmm.
of the sessions. Talk to me a bit about how that fits into the kind of meditation or just taking that time for yourself.
Yeah. Well, the beautiful thing about um, incorporating the creativity in those is that it allows yourself to focus,
Mm,
right? So you start with, well, I like to encourage, but again, we're not, it doesn't have to be perfection or performance. You show up on,
mhm.
do you mind if I
Oh, not at
see,
all.
wherever feels right.
Okay.
But I encourage to start in the center. So
Ah,
sort of like in the heart center,
okay.
exactly where you did,
Yay.
and working your way out.
Okay.
And just sort of flowing with whatever comes up. Maybe during, the first segment of our practice is the meditation.
Hmm.
So maybe a color came up for you, or maybe,
Oh,
when you were in your visualization, you thought about yourself in a certain place that had colors. Maybe you want to use those colors,
I like
in your art piece, so that you can take a piece of your practice with you. So again, it's just, being able to focus, quieting the noise, and then at the end of the day, leaving with a beautiful piece that you can look back on that maybe will remind you of the feelings that you had
that.
during this
Mm,
practice. So it's just another way of
okay.
creativity. There's so many different ways, but I think this just fits so beautifully with NaRose because of the blend of mindfulness and creativity.
Yeah.
Um, and then you can come back to it because, as you can see, all these details,
There's a,
right? It's
yes.
like you can return to this, and this is what I love about it at
Mm,
home is that I don't feel pressured to come up with a masterpiece on
yeah.
the spot. When time allows, I just pick back up, show up, set whatever my intention is in the moment, and just let it take its place,
Yeah.
let it take its course. So yeah, I can't wait to see when you finish this one, what you're working on.
So Jen, I really appreciate your time today and just really sharing. Um, it's encouraging to hear kind of your journey, just a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of your journey and what brought you to meditation, and this the realness of it as well,
Yeah.
because that to me, it's not perfect. You see someone and they're sitting, and you think that this is first of all that you have to sit like this because you
Yep.
don't.
Yep.
As you notice, sometimes we stretched our legs. I
Uh-huh.
mean, there's a cushion
Yeah,
here.
look, you can lay back. It's all
Right.
about comfort.
Yes.
And I'm glad you brought that up too. All these, these because these are so important for people that are curious about starting
Yeah.
the practice. Is that we have these misconceptions that we have to show up a certain way. I personally can't sit in lotus pose. I'm not flexible enough
No.
to do that.
I'm
Okay.
barely. Is that the same as child's pose? I mean, like crisscross applesauce, or is it with the both feet?
It's like when your foot is,
Oh yeah, no.
no.
Right now,
Mm-mm.
I'm barely in crisscross.
I mean, that is the goal. I would love to sit beautifully, but no. So, it's comfort.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You show up as you are. Don't steer you away from the practice at all. And, again, just I love how you said just being real with
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
Just there's
Look.
let go of the performance.
Yeah.
There's so many roles in life where we feel like we have to perform or show up a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let this be the place where you feel like you have to do that. Let everything go at the door.
Yes.
You know?
You couldn't have said it any better. Yes.
Yeah. Let it go.
Yeah, because I really want should be, we use the term a lot, but really this is the safe space. Like just
Yeah.
come on in. We all
Yeah.
come as we are, and hopefully we leave a little better,
Yeah.
or at least take something that we can carry with us, throughout the day and beyond. The views before we enter into a little bit of breath work to
Yeah.
close out. Is there anything else that kind of stood out to you that you wanted to share?
You know, I would just say what worked for me was just simply continuing to show up, you know, and building upon the practice, and maybe taking inventory of how you felt in your first practice or second or third, and building upon that and making adjustments as you go. The practice is yours. It's yours. And you know that's what that's the piece of advice that I would give anyone that's thinking about starting a meditation practice.
That's beautiful. I don't know why. I got a little emotional on that one. I did. It was,
Really?
just reminding the practice is yours. This
It
is really
is.
yours. It doesn't belong to anyone else. No one else sets how it's supposed to look for you or how you're supposed to do it. It's yours.
Yeah.
So it's what you put into it, a little or a lot. Monday may not look like Friday, and it's okay.
It is.
And I think we have to constantly remind ourselves it's okay.
Yeah, and that is it, Nana. And that just brings me back to closing with a quote from Layla Delia's book that I actually it touched me so much that I got it tattooed on my arm, and it's just simply journey and grace. Journey and grace.
Journey in grace or journey and grace? In grace.
So journey and grace. You know.
I love that.
Yeah.
So many good nuggets, y'all. Well, Jen, do you mind closing us out with just like a minute or two of breath work?
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Let's just get comfortable. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to stretch my legs out a little bit.
I was thinking the same.
We just want to center ourselves comfortably on our mat. And maybe here taking a few cleansing breaths in through our nose and out through the mouth. Allowing our shoulders to drop on the exhale. Noticing how that feels. Maybe we want to make any adjustments on our next inhale. Maybe holding it a little longer at the top, or exhaling a little bit deeper and slower. We'll just do a couple of rounds of deep breaths, inhaling through the nose, holding it at the top, then letting go. Maybe two more just like that. Holding it, letting go. And maybe on this last breath, just listening to your body and seeing what is it that you need. Maybe it's filling your lungs a little bit more with more air and letting go just a few seconds longer. Inhaling here and exhaling. And then just a few seconds of returning to the natural rhythm of your breath. Noticing the rise and fall of your chest. As our bodies breathe for us on its own, without us asking. Just quietly and faithfully. You can sit with this breath for as long as you like. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you,
Thank you all for joining us. Hopefully, you are leaving as relaxed as we are, and going to move throughout your day or evening with a little more sense of peace and calm. And just remember that you can do this at any time, anywhere, and how you want to do it.
Yep, that's
Okay?
it.
That's it. So thanks. Take care. Bye.